Okay, so I will be talking about Burkina Faso Team 2 for the Virtual Environmental Challenge. So the main points I will try to talk about will be communication, because I think it was one of the main and most interesting things about the whole project, and also the bigger challenge. So first of all, I will be talking about the team, so introducing the team members. Then I will be talking about the communication tools I used to communicate with them. Then I will be talking about the project they made and the productions which comes with it. And then finally, I will be making a conclusion, talking about the good points, the bad points, and how I felt about the whole the project as a whole. So first of all, I'm going to be talking about the team. So at first, we divided the team members of Burkina Faso with Dia and Laura. So at first I had 6 students, but only 2 of them interacted and answered the messages I sent. So that's why I'm only showing you 2 students, because I don't have an authorization form for the 4 other one who didn't really took part in the project. So the 2 students who took part in the project was Sugruma Lankoande and François Bamogo. So one is a student, the 2 are studying at the University of Joseph Kizerbo in Ouagadougou, and they're studying English as a foreign language. So Sugruma is also working in a marketing company. And François is also studying computer science, which was really useful for making the logo and the trailer also. So they are studying at the University of Joseph Kizerbo, which is in the capital of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, as you can see in the map. There was only one 1-hour time shift, so it was quite practical for the meeting. But then when we changed time, it was 2 hours, and it became a bit more complicated, I suppose, but we still ended up finding a time to meet. Okay, so I will be talking now about the communication tools I used for the project. So the main one was WhatsApp, obviously, because they already had a WhatsApp conversation with all the members of Burkina Faso, which was created by Rabiatou. So we just divided them into several groups, smaller groups, and we talked directly to them through WhatsApp. We didn't have to pass through email. So it was quite practical because they often use it. And so that's the platform we were using to discuss. They also send vocals at some point when they really wanted to exchange about their opinions and their ideas about the project. One of them would often use the vocals. We also send the videos and some documents. When I had resources to send them, I would send Google Docs through WhatsApp. Then at the beginning, I also used the Padlet. So it was for them to introduce themselves. So as I showed in the previous slide, they could say what they were studying, what they were doing as work, and also what they like to do in their free time when they're not at the university. Then I also used Miro at the beginning, so it was to brainstorm the ideas. The goal was for them to be able, so we used it when we were doing the presentation, the meeting on Zoom, and then we also used it when we were not doing the presentation, but for me to check what they were doing and the research they were adding, and when doing between one presentation and between one Zoom meeting and the other Zoom meeting, so I could check the ideas they had. So the first part with the brainstorming ideas, it also was quite long. I think there was like delay between what we're supposed to do in week 2, in week 3, because it really took them a lot of time, like to choose and decide over one specific idea, because they had a lot of ideas and they really did a lot of research about all of these ideas. So then we used Zoom. So Zoom was a bit more complicated because Rabiatou told me at the beginning of the project that the connection was really expensive in Burkina Faso. So the meetings couldn't be too long. So we had to do meetings between 20 and 30 minutes every week. And sometimes it was a bit complicated because the connection was also really bad for one of the students, so François Bamogo. The sound was quite bad. So most of the time when he was speaking, I couldn't understand him, which was a bit problematic because he was the one with the most ideas. But the good thing was that we were able to exchange in live, because when we were on WhatsApp, there was a delay in our answers. So the good thing was that we could discuss in reality. Then I also used WordPress towards the end of the project because I was with the other masters in digital humanities that we had to do a WordPress website about an event. So I thought I could maybe mix both and do a WordPress website about the VC. So I could put the resources I wanted to show them on one specific website. So I used the already existing website with a lot of information, but there were so many information that I couldn't show them everything. So I just picked some of them because it's a private website, so it's not public. So I just put some of the videos from the previous editions so I could show them on it what the students did the previous years. And so these are some pictures of the website. I wanted to show you the website in reality, but the Rennes University website changed and I can't find how to access the VPN connection. So I'm sorry. So then the productions and their project. So they decided to do their project about cleaning the campus because one of the main thing they observed was the waste on the campus. So there was a lot of trashes everywhere. So there were 3 smaller projects in the big project, which was to get rid of the trash. So the first one was to add trash can because apparently they didn't have a lot of them in the building, so that's why a lot of trash ended up on the ground. Was also organizing event to collect waste. So for that they got in contact with an environmental association from the university. So they were able to know if it was possible to do it, which was possible because apparently they already did some, but in their project they wanted to organize it once a week, so to get rid progressively of the trash. And then they wanted to raise awareness on campus, so they did a survey. So the good thing, the answers were interesting, but they didn't have a lot of answers. They only had, I think, 8 or 7 answers, something like this. So then for the productions, so they did the logo. So they did multiple logos. I think they did 4 or 5 different logos. And because François was really used to using editing tools, I sent them some documents with some resources of tools they could use. But he already knew even more tools than I did. So he used the one he was comfortable with to work on it with Sugoma. And so they really wanted to choose this one. It wasn't the closest to their project, to the idea, because they did some other one with trash can on it, but they really cared about the aesthetic of the logo, which they found better on this one. And then for the quarterfinals, they anticipated the connection, because since they can have really bad connection with the sound, they recorded themselves doing it. And so they sent it to me, and they were still present at the quarterfinal, but I passed the video. And during the screening of it, there was also some technical issues with the sound, because I think someone in the same room as me had their phone with their mic on, so the sound was there was an echo in the room. But I was able to send the video afterwards. Yeah, and then for the semi-final. So in between, we discussed a lot about the feedbacks. So we couldn't discuss like directly, but we could talk about what Kilan told us. And I think one of the bigger issue is that they were really, like when it came to researches and finding articles about people who did this project. They were really researching a lot about this kind of things, but they really struggled with the making it a reality. So I was often telling them that the project needed to be realistic, and I think that's the part they really struggled with, like the more practical, like the idea of making the project a reality was a bit hard for them because it was there was money involved in it. So I think it was maybe the problem with it. Yeah, and so at the end also of the project, so at first they were really responsive, but at the end, in the last few weeks, I think there was some trouble with the connection. But that's what they told me, because there was a big gap of time when we were exchanging, which made the trailer was made, I think, in just a few days, because they didn't answer during a really long time to the message, and yeah, so that at the end there was like big delays when we were exchanging. Yeah. And so to conclude, the thing I found was really, really interesting was I was really surprised to see how motivated they were, and also hardworking, because even though there was some delay sometimes, they answered like lately, but they still did the work and worked the whole day on it. And they were also really curious, and they also always asked me to check with me and to give feedbacks, which I think was really good. They really wanted to improve the work, and they were also quite independent sometimes when editing the video, because François already knew how to do that. The more negative point, I think, was the bad connection, which I think also caused a misunderstanding about certain part of the assignment. Sometimes I didn't know how, but certain parts apparently were not. It took them a long time to understand a certain part of the project, which I think is maybe because of the connection when we were talking during the Zoom meeting, or there was some misunderstanding, maybe because of the sound during the presentation. So I'm still very happy that I chose the VSC project. I was more interested in this one because I thought I wanted to talk in English, because I'm not doing the bilingual option, and so I kind of missed it. And I also wanted to work with other people who are learning English. And I think when you said that the Burkina Faso team was really motivated, that makes me want to go with the Burkina Faso team. And they were really, really motivated, really curious. And at the end, I think the only maybe down part was the connection. But even though there was some issue with connection, with all the different tools and the documents, it still managed to get. We still managed to succeed to communicate. Also because they were doing the work, even though it was sometimes not the best condition to do it. Yeah. So thanks for listening to me. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate.